this whole thing of feeling overwhelmed. And yesterday I promised you that I would post or talk about 3 new questions. So give me a second to get the technology going. I think we're good. Okay, awesome. So I'll just dive right into it, and I hope that you guys enjoy this live session. So here we go. All right, so we're on day 2. And like I talked about yesterday, we discussed 3 reflection questions that can help us to be, more in control of the way we feel and just our lives in general, right? And the first question that we talked about yesterday was, what am I doing to make my body stronger? The second question was, am I reading my affirmations? And the third question was, do I know what I will be doing first thing tomorrow? So all of these things I can most definitely help you with, especially the affirmation part. So if you want some assistance with that, just let me know, and I'd be happy to help you with this, because it's kind of a crucial part of just sort of my mental well-being. Okay, so really and truly, if the answers to those questions, are nothing, no, and no, right? Then for sure you want to start there, whether it's the physical, the affirmation, the mental component, or just the organizational part. Start there. Start where you individually are, right? But to round out this discussion, I first, want to invite you to my Facebook group page, where I will share some secrets that are not seen on my regular Facebook page, the one that I'm talking to you on right now. And if you're interested in getting that content, then go ahead and just type yes in the chat, big capital letters, and I will absolutely send you an invite into that private group so you can get that. Now, with that being said, let's get into some more questions that we can ask ourselves to take, self-inventory. So here we go. All right. The first thing is, the first question is, what is my intention for the day? What's my intention for the day? So let me clarify something. Setting goals, that's really great, right? But when we set goals, what are we focusing on? Well, we're focusing on the future, right? But when we want to stay, grounded and present in the moment, it's better to set an intention, right? And so I set daily intentions. And I hope that you can kind of see the difference there versus, focusing on the future versus staying present and grounded. Goals are more future oriented. So, goals are not just future oriented, but they're also about results, right? And intentions are a little bit different, because intentions aren't about results, they're about values, right? So the question, I have to sort of ask myself, and I think the answer is pretty obvious, but, the question is, if I focus solely on my goals, what's going to happen? If I don't focus on the intention and it's just like on the goals? Well, for one thing, goals are hit or miss, right? You achieve them or you don't. So, I go through cold spells where I don't, feel like I'm hitting any goals or anything like that. It happens all the time, right? And sometimes I have goals that I never achieve, right? And sometimes, they might take years to get to. So if goals, the results, are my only focus, then, for me personally, I'm definitely going to go off course and get off track pretty quickly. And I'm going to start spiraling, right? Because especially in those slumpy times when you're not achieving what you hope to. So, however, though, with the idea of intentions and setting intentions, my intentions have nothing to do with my goals, right? They have everything to do with who I am as a person, how I live my life, how I decide to conduct myself, right? And so I know that for my personal and professional goals, I have to, know and understand that they don't define me, right? But I can stay present in the moment with intentions, and I'm always, free and sort of liberated in a sense to reevaluate situations through my intentions, right? So intentions help to sort of keep me aligned with who I am as a person and help me kind of stay on track and stay focused regardless of where my goals are at the time, right? So that's question number 1. Question number 2, Um, hold on one second. Let me just look at something real quick. Okay. So with question number 2, it is pretty basic, but it's basically, what have I learned from the challenges that I've faced, and where have I sort of leveled up? So I'm pretty sure that all of us teachers out there, and really anybody who's watching this video, I think that we can think about a dozen different challenges right off the bat for this year that we've faced. And the truth is, though, is that when you're taking inventory of yourself, right, it's definitely important to look back at how far you've come, right? Because I know for me, I tend not to look at my progress that much, and I know a lot of teachers in particular, including myself from time to time, that are very self-deprecating in many ways, both personally and professionally, right? And so for me, when I take time to take self-inventory, when I look back at just a week and a half ago, essentially, when I think about where I was with Canvas and all the technology and all this stuff that we were doing, it's the growth is really amazing, right? In comparison to a week ago, where I was a week ago, I'm light years ahead of when I began, right? And I feel like I've really hit my stride with Canvas in terms of the basics, and now I'm making videos and quizzes and assignments and all kinds of stuff. So you name it, right? And for me, when I think about that, it feels great, right? So it's important to take stock of that and to take self-inventory about our progress, right? And so as a result of doing that, I feel much more independent, much more capable now, and I also feel liberated from a situation that just had a hold on me for a long time. I just felt kind of like I was frozen. Like, what am I going to do, right? So think about you now for a second, where you've been, where you've grown, personally, professionally, emotionally, however. But think about where you've grown and do a little celebration. It's important to celebrate these things because, first of all, when I celebrate, I do something that genuinely makes me smile. And it sounds kind of corny, but to be honest with you, like when I celebrate something, I like to kind of be silly with my celebrations. So like if I do something cool on Canvas, I'll be like, or sometimes like I'll flex. I like to do like little flexes and stuff like that when I feel like I've accomplished something. Or sometimes I'll just do like a little dance, and it's just for like a second, right? It's just for like a second, but it makes me feel happy, and I smile. And so don't forget to celebrate the things that you've done, and do it daily, so that it's even more motivating for you to continue to grow and have growth mindset, right? And so that takes us to the last question number 3, and that is, who is my audience, right? What are they seeing, and what are they feeling? So when we're taking self-inventory, it's important to know, what our target audience is thinking, seeing, and feeling. And so I've got sort of a secret tip into getting into the psychology of your students, and I'd love to share it with you. So go ahead and type yes in the chat box, and I'll invite you to my super cool Facebook group, and I'll post the content that's not available on my regular page. So if you're into that, just let me know. But anyway, in terms of the situation that we're in, right, it's vital to understand who our audience is. And truthfully, our audience probably, if you think about it, our audience has probably doubled, because it's not just going to be our students and our kids anymore, right? And maybe the one administrator in the back of the room that's doing an observation once in a while. Our audience has doubled, and the reason for that is because the students are going to be taking our classes with their parents, and maybe even their siblings, and whoever else is listening and watching in the house, right? So and also the public at large, right? People might see and hear us. People might be working at Starbucks or a cafe somewhere or whatever, and there's a lot of people are going to see what we're doing, right? Potentially. So we sort of do well to ask ourselves what they're going through and how they're feeling when they're engaging with our content, and how are we being perceived on the other end, right? So I just kind of wanted to bring that out for a second, because it's kind of mind-blowing to think about. And then the last thing that I want to talk to you guys about today is an interesting post I had seen on Facebook, and someone had posted an article. I think it came from like a newspaper or something, and they said something like the Gen Z students, right, the kids that we're teaching, basically, that Gen Z And we just did a training on the generations, Gen X, Y, Z, baby boomers, millennial, all that, all that stuff. And it was like ridiculously amazing, super amazing. So if you're interested in that, let me know. I'd be happy to set you up with that, because it's so insightful. Like, it's just critical. It's absolutely critical information that we don't know that we need to know, but really and truly, like, it affects everything that we do. So if you're interested in that training, definitely let me know and hit me up. You can put yes in the chat box if you want to. But anyway, so with regards to this article that somebody posted, they had said that Gen Z they don't like to use punctuation in their writing, and it's not just that they don't like to use it, but if they're on the receiving end, they don't like the sentences to be punctuated with like hard stops, like periods and things like that. And the reason that the article gave, I thought was very interesting. The reason that the article gave was because Gen Z interprets this, a hard stop, like a period or an exclamation point or something like that, as like overt, outright aggression, right, through texting or email or whatever, or they interpret it as just passive aggressive behavior. But either way, it's pretty negative. So, kind of an interesting point about Gen Z. So, as a teacher, really, you have to ask yourself, we all do, really, is, are we going to allow that to happen? Are we just going to like stop writing emails and test questions with punctuation? And are our kids going to feel a certain kind of way that we're sort of being passive aggressive with them if we do? The question is really, again, knowing your audience. What are you going to do as a teacher, when this comes up? Because it absolutely will with Gen Z, right? It's already out there, and this is a generation that we're exploring now because it's all happening in real time, right? So the question really is, how are we going to respond when this comes up, right? Because it's important in terms of how you approach these situations and how you frame things. Because if you frame things in a certain way, you're going to get their buy-in, their motivation, and their support. But if you frame it in a different way, then you might get the opposite reaction. So how you frame things, and that was what our training was about, is really going to have a positive or a negative impact in your class. And again, like I said, it affects everything. This stuff really affects everything. So if you're interested in that training, again, just let me know. And also, if you're interested in my course, Thriving as a Teacher, just DM me and we can go over some information and all that professional development points and all that kind of stuff, because, I can and I definitely want to help you be the best teacher that you can. So go ahead and you can book a call. I put that in the little chat, and we will talk soon. So I look forward to chatting with you, and I hope you guys have a great day. Bye.